Well, so the first person that I would like to introduce is Thomas, and he is one of 3 co-CTOs of Turbine Kreuzberg. I think this is one of the really interesting things that I learned, that you can be one of the 3 co-CTOs, so there will be some interesting questions for you as it comes to AI. Just be prepared for it. The next person is Devank. So he is a partner developer manager at a company called Infobip. And the fun fact is that Devank actually likes to practice comedy and also host supper clubs in Toronto. So we'll definitely see how AI can help with that, so then you can scale all of that experience to all the other places. And last one is Florian. So Florian is VP of Sales for a company called Bloomreach that obviously a lot of us know and love. So Florian, welcome as well to the panel. And Florian also has a secret passion for the 90s music, which is also super cool, and we'll see if we can come up with some fun questions about that. So welcome, everybody, and the panelists, first of all. Well, so to get started, because today we're going to be talking about the AI and how to leapfrog innovation, how to differentiate in digital commerce and using AI and all the capabilities. So let's start with maybe the general question first. So Devank, what is your general stance on AI? Are you a believer or are you more skeptical?
I think firstly, let me introduce myself a little more formally. I'm Devank Gupta, and work at Infobip. We're a messaging platform, and we basically help brands connect, engage, and service their customers. So if you ever get a message from Uber saying your Uber is here, or you get a message from your bank, that's us. And we'd love to be in that customer experience space always. Going back to your question about how I feel about AI, I think my general stance in that is it's better to get educated on that and adopt it, as against there's no reason for us to be scared of anything new. That's just human tendency. It's always been around. Whenever we've searched on Google, there have been suggestions that I've come across for years now. Google Photos have face recognition. So it's just an evolution, and I don't think artificial intelligence is an absolute state. It's just a journey that's going to continue being there. Machine learning leads to artificially intelligent machines. So that's my stance on this, not to be scared.
Not to be scared. So Thomas, are you of the same opinion, or do you think differently that we should be scared of it?
My curiosity is ignited. And I see myself and my kids when they were still toddlers exploring the world and trying to figure out how things work, tasting things, and that's the same for me. I like to taste AI, figuratively speaking. So yeah, there's so many new things to learn, and it's just very exciting to explore that. Yeah.
Okay, I see. And Florian, so what's your stance on AI?
Yeah, so I think it's going to be disruptive. There's no question about it. The question is just like, what other applications are we going to see in the future, apart from the ones that have come up on what feels like a daily basis over the last couple of weeks and months. It's been around for a long time. It's just leapfrogged into the public conscience now. But yeah, it's, as you said, it's a journey, and I can't wait to see where we're going to be six months or 6 years from now.
Okay, so speaking about 6 months or even 6 years, what do you think is going to happen with the digital or the technology jobs, and also the jobs of people in digital commerce with the rise of AI? Like, are there going to be any jobs that are going to be eliminated, or maybe the new ones created? So what's your point of view on that?
So probably a bit of both. I think that probably most of job descriptions in the commerce space are going to change. They will have to deal with AI or data or machine learning in some capacity whatsoever. It's not going to take away a bunch of jobs like everybody is afraid of at the moment. It's just like people have now time and capacity to do different things that they haven't been able to do before. So the skill sets need to change, but there are going to be new jobs for sure, like ChatGPT prompt engineering. That's come up out of nowhere, what feels like. And I think we're going to see that trend continue.
Okay. Thomas, so from your point of view, especially since you run one of the really famous solution partner companies. So what do you think is going to happen to companies like yours, to people who employed at companies like yours with the rise of AI? Like, are there jobs in danger or would need to evolve or any of that nature?
Jobs will certainly change, especially on the development side of things. I think there's many things to explore and hopefully optimize and turn for the better. But that's just one aspect of what we do, right? It's the development part of it that will definitely change, but also the solutions we can provide to customers. There's a whole bag of new possibilities opening up that are attainable now, and it's not up to a couple of few companies to actually provide very sophisticated solutions, so we can get in that game too and provide something for our customers. Yeah.
Yeah. Devank, do you have anything to add, like on this topic?
I think just very little to add to what both of them have said is, I don't look at it as elimination or acceleration, but an evolution of every job. When software kind of came about, a lot of distributors and traditional technology sellers felt like they're going to run out of space to work in, or jobs, primarily because, well, they won't have a physical thing to sell, right? And I feel like specifically, I mean, obviously development, yes, but even from a sales perspective, right, the evolution of the seller would be that of being more collaborative. So ABCs, always be collaborative. That's why the partnership ecosystem exists. And yeah, leveraging other organizations and being a solution-oriented person as against just being a seller. So that's how I see it.
Okay, so it sounds like in general, so at least on this panel, so we have people who are believing in the AI and also understanding that they're also going to change. But I think now we actually need to switch gears and also talk about what's going to happen with the digital commerce and what are the threats, but also opportunities for the AI in digital commerce. So let's start from the most fundamental and philosophical question, and we'll start, Florian, with you. So what do you think, or how do you think the future of the digital commerce is going to look like with the AI now being available to all of us?
I think the honest answer is I don't know, at least for the mid or long term. But I think what's going to change in the short term is how we interact with online shops, commerce in any way. Because I think we've heard it earlier before, like human beings weren't built to type in a couple of search queries into some sort of search engine and then look for the product by clicking on arrows. But now the data is there and the machine learning is there, so you can actually interact in a natural language sort of fashion. So just the interface to the commerce world is changing, and I think that's going to be inevitable on all channels. And yeah, so that's probably going to be the next big thing that we're seeing. But beyond that, with the speed of, or at which the entire thing or the space is evolving, other than that, it's going to be really hard to predict.
Okay. Devank, do you have a better read on the future? Do you know what's going to happen with the digital commerce?
I don't have a crystal ball either, but what I can definitely say is maybe in the immediate future, which would be in the next few months or maybe a year at best, we're going to start. I think earlier in one of the keynotes, we were talking about omni-channel experiences, so on and so forth. Infobip obviously prides itself in that, but what we are going to start seeing is a single channel but multi-experiences or omni-experiences all in one chat app. We're already doing that at Infobip and launching experiences or use cases that exist everywhere, so that it's easier for people to just kind of quote-unquote download it and then just use it instead of reinventing the wheel. So shopping experience would continue to be multi-touch point, but also within one single chat app, omni-experiences, I would say.
Okay. Thomas, what's your read on the future of the digital commerce? How different is it going to be?
There's probably a couple of short-term goals to achieve, like ensuring product data quality, product images, generation of these things will be a lot quicker and easier. You don't need so many people to work on that anymore. Maybe also semantic searches that are now reachable. You don't have to, maybe not have a very specialized service provider for that in its limits. it will show. My experience is that people are sometimes slow to adapt to new interfaces, so we'll see how fast people actually like to prompt things somewhere instead of using the old way of typing regular search queries or using handheld devices to scan things. Yeah, the time will show.
But do you think that the shopping experience, like for example today we talked about the Spryker composable storefront, that even though it's built on a new technology, it still looks like a traditional kind of shopping experience as we used to. So do you think that there's still going to be a place for things like this in the near to midterm?
Probably a political discussion. If Google would be there right now to serve all the e-commerce experience right away, a lot of shops would probably raise their hands and say, no, we want to provide our own experience. We don't want everyone to go through one unified user interface. So I think maybe there's regulations coming up. There's lobbyism that might play a big role in how this is going to develop. So I have no clue how this will turn out.
Yeah. So Devank, I know that in Infobip, you are, like as a company, actually been investing a lot in AI and all the different solutions, kind of how customers can interact with different touch points. So can you tell us more about like the things that you are exploring at Infobip, and how do you envision the shopping experience to be powered by your Infobip solutions, or maybe some of the future ones that you can imagine?
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the things that we're doing at Infobip specifically is making sure that we can use the intelligence that we have in terms of creating hyper-personalized experiences and making sure that it is there at every single touch point that the customer wants to be contacted. I mean, I prefer being contacted over WhatsApp, so if somebody's going to give me a call, I don't really appreciate that sometimes, right? And every one of us is different in that way. So that's the aspect that we definitely are focused on providing hyper-personalized experiences. We launched an AI chatbot for a brand by the name of Christian Dior, where they basically could have an entire experience of a buyer's journey, all the way from contacting the store to buying it, to being educated on the product, all on a single chat app. And that was part of the experiences we're providing. So yeah, I think there's going to be a change in retail, and we're excited to be part of leading it as well, as would Bloomreach be, right?
Yeah, and actually, now speaking of Bloomreach, so I know that Bloomreach is also really big on AI and kind of exploring into like different areas. So tell us more how you guys at Bloomreach actually envision the future of commerce with AI, and what are you're investing in right now?
Yeah, so I think for us there are two ways to look at it, right? So the first one I already touched upon, conversational commerce, we think is going to be a game changer, or at least a really big trend that companies will like to explore. So that's why we also announced a new product specifically for that, right? So really taking into consideration the context of the customer and making sure that that conversation, similar to what Infobip does, just continues wherever the customer wants to. So that's one thing, like really taking the capabilities that we have and create better experiences for the end customer. But at the same time, we invest a lot in optimizing our product for our users to make their life easier and take away a lot of the tedious day-to-day tasks, reporting, data queries, all that type of thing. This is where AI can help also to really make sure that they can use their time in a better way.
Cool. So we talked a lot about also like the shopping experience and how that is going to change, right? Because the generative AI is all about the conversations, and you're able to ask machines to actually speak our language and help you with the shopping experiences. But let's also talk about the other side of commerce, and where you also have those merchants, practitioners, however you call them. What do you think is going to change for them with now having AI available? Is their experience going to be different? Is it going to be more efficient, or maybe more complicated because now we have the AI? Yeah.
So I think it's definitely going to be more productive, because a lot of the applications that we're now seeing are already these big productivity boosters. Take content creation, for example. Like if you need a couple of different variants of a product image, you had to go and shoot it and post-production and all these things, and now you just have AI tools that will help you do it within a fraction of the time that it used to be, right? So all of these people can take their time elsewhere and be more strategic, more creative in ways that they couldn't before. And I think that's going to continue in ways that we can't foresee, today. But it's definitely like this whole productivity thing is coming more, because then we can lean on the creativity that AI won't be able to provide for the foreseeable future.
Cool. Yeah, that's interesting. Thomas, Devank, do you want to share your thoughts?
It depends a lot for me on the accessibility. If it isn't integrated in tools, I know people love their Excel sheets, letting go of them and, providing, having things calculated by some machine, or even communicating to have things analyzed is going to be something that, it needs curiosity to explore that, right? And hopefully we will get there, or a lot of people will hop on that train and get curious enough to try it. But it opens up the whole question of what kind of data can I provide to a third party? What are the regulations, the constraints, and maybe there's going to be restrictions, especially in the European Union. We'll see how that turns out. But I think, yes, like Florian said, it's going to change and take away a lot of the chores and make this boring work go away.
Yeah, actually, speaking of like you touched on it a little bit, are there any areas where you think that AI cannot help, or maybe there's some restrictions or sensitivity about using AI to do digital commerce specifically?
I think if you try to force a specific use case in places without education, that's where AI will completely fail. And not so much AI failing as against the person who's trying to implement it or think that this can work here, or it's like a one-stop shop or a cookie cutter kind of solution, right? To talk about efficiency, there are so many ways of improving efficiency. One might work for you, one doesn't work. For example, within conversational commerce, as you were talking, we talk about conversational experiences as well. You've got conversational marketing today. An advertisement does not have to follow me around on a website, on emails, et cetera, et cetera. If you're in one chat app, the return on investment also is a lot more, right? Because it's a curated ad for you. So, but that doesn't work for everyone. If somebody doesn't even have a website today, to kind of explain to them what quantum computing is going to be difficult again.
Yeah.
So that's where
I see. So let's now switch gears and talk about another aspect. So obviously we're all here representing different companies, and everybody is now trying to figure out what is going to be their role of AI in the companies that they have. So the thing that I was curious about personally is, what are the goals that you have set maybe for the AI within your organizations? Like, what are you asking your teams to work on? Are you actually asking even them to adopt AI, or maybe, I don't know, you're thinking about AI but without actually letting them use AI features? So Thomas, maybe we'll start with you, because you have a different type of company. So interested to see how you actually do it.
No, we did not set any concrete goals yet. Obviously, there's a lot to gain in software development, but my colleague Bernd will later on in the next panel talk about that in detail. Yes, there's a lot of efficiency to gain for us as a company internally of having personal digital assistants to schedule meetings across multiple regions, and summarizing meeting notes, and what people already are doing, right? It already is beneficial, and that will become more and more adapted. Yeah.
Do you believe that AI is going to give you a huge boost in productivity when developing solutions for your customers?
I'm not sure about huge. Maybe in the future. For us, the biggest challenge is actually we cannot expose lots of the data that we have. So if we talk about employee data, we need to have models on site, on premise, that we train on our own data. So we need to figure out how we prepare data to train the models on, how do we make it accessible. It will not be as good as using a solution from OpenAI. So that's the comparison you have to compete with. The same goes for software development. Most of the code that we create actually is owned by our customers, so we cannot use that and expose it to a third party for training. That poses challenges because the training happens on a local machine, and then the development team had to share this training data. But the vendors of the tools actually adapt and provide solutions for these things. So this is changing really quickly, and I think, yeah, there's a lot for us to gain in efficiency, which also is a good thing for our customers. We can more efficiently develop solutions. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So, Devank, how is it going for Infobip? Do you have any goals around AI, and are you developing AI features with the help of AI, or maybe not?
So when it comes to goals specifically, I think Infobip is an organization that wants to be a market leader in any and every space that they're in. So I think it is a time for educating the wider audience as to what AI is all about, making sure that you're following regulations, working with various organizations in terms of, basically making sure regulations and any kind of compliances are taken care of, while the benefits are reaped as well. So yes, we are heavily invested with AI. In AI, we have a ChatGPT integration as well. And we basically want to make sure that as we're growing to be the platform of platforms, we become the preferred partner in terms of, hey, these guys know what they're doing in artificial intelligence. They have their own proprietary customer data platform and can make sure that the intelligence is there as well. So that's where we want to be at, and I think it's a journey, as we previously spoke.
Yeah. Do you see any challenges of your employees adopting AI? Are they scared of it, or is it something that everybody's kind of on a journey and super excited about?
Do you want to go for this, or?
Oh, yeah, I can. I mean, yes, there are some challenges because obviously there's a lot of gray areas in terms of, again, what data do you use to train the models, right? How much can you trust them? How much does it actually represent what you're trying to communicate or what you're trying to do? But at the same time, I think us developing products that try to be at the cutting edge of what's possible, we have a bunch of really curious people and we are exploring quite a lot. But I can't say that we have set any internal goals or completely revamped any processes based on AI now. It's probably similar to you guys. We're just trying to see what's out there, what really works, and then apply it step by step.
Okay. Are there any limitations that you think you're going to have when using AI internally? So, for example, like Thomas already talked about having to train the model to be on premises so the data doesn't leave the company. Like, are there any other challenges kind of where you think that AI is not going to be able to help?
I mean, speaking from a salesperson's point of view, I don't think that, all the context and all the complexity, that's nothing that AI really can help with. And it shouldn't be, right? Because in my opinion, that's not how it works. But yeah, other than that, it's really tough to see where this is going to go. So for today, again, I can only reiterate the legal challenges and the data stuff and everything that we mentioned before. So yeah, we'll see if that changes in the future. But especially Germany is notoriously slow when it comes to actually taking these things a few steps forward.
I see. Devank, do you want to add anything to that? Or Thomas?
Specifically for our processes, I think it depends on the tools we are already using internally. And for example, what CRM do you use, right? If you're using Salesforce, they would have their own artificial intelligence built into that or baked into that. If you're using a ticketing system, that has its own. So I think it'll be like a product feature that's getting adopted by a lot of the employees within Infobip or any organization. Other than that, there is no hard-pressed issue in terms of people wanting to work with it. I think education is primary here in terms of, hey, this is to help you, not kind of replace you of sorts. It's an evolution again.
Yeah. Thomas, do you have anything to add?
Yeah. No, not too much.
Yeah. So, like, for example, I can share like what and you obviously heard already from Boris, like what we've been exploring at Spryker. So we are actually looking at pretty much every single process that we have and like trying to understand where can we become more efficient when using AI. But as we talked about already, like AI helps if you have a good process and you can automate some parts of it, like it actually becomes or makes everything more efficient. But if you have some inefficiencies and on top of that you use AI, then the inefficient becomes even more inefficient because of the help of AI. So that's something that is definitely super critical thing that we're looking at. Like, for example, I can speak to the product department. Like, we are looking at how do we actually do product development and how can we use AI in a way that actually helps us get better and not all of a sudden kind of lead us to in an efficient way. So it's something definitely to look after. But I think we're actually coming close to the end of the panel. So just have a final question for you, and then maybe we'll have time for some fun questions. So what is your final advice for people who are just starting to think about maybe using AI either within their companies or for the digital commerce or in general as individuals kind of doing their daily tasks? Florian, we'll start with you.
So I think it's just very important to keep experimenting, right? As I said in the beginning, it's been around for a long time, but it used to be, a lot of data science, needed people specifically devoted to trying to make sense of it and develop applications. But now there's tools out there which, you can probably use in a day or two and start experimenting if it actually makes sense for you, if there are applications that help you either in your job or make, your customers' lives easier. And just, don't wait until the final solution is there, but just, keep iterating on the stuff.
So experiment and see how the future is going to look like. Sounds cool. Devank, what's your recommendation?
I think I'm on the same page in terms of ask more questions about it, be more curious, try to figure out how it can help you versus looking at it, apprehensively. And yeah, I think it's not something new. Again, I cannot reiterate this fact enough. It's existed for a long, long time. It's just that the evolution of it suddenly has blown up. So artificial intelligence, to a lot of people, could be a word on a presentation. I think if you ask questions, that's when you kind of get to know that, OK, it's here to stay. It's always been around, and it's here to help me. How do I get the best out of it?
At the beginning, in a fun fact about you, you said that you like to do comedy. So can AI help you with writing better jokes?
Yes, because I've tried it. But comedy is more about not writing a joke, but making people laugh. And that has to do with performance. So AI could not help me with that. So I do use it to my advantage once every now and then. But yeah, you still have to hone your own skills on that.
OK, so it can help you writing better jokes, but if you don't know how to make fun or how to make people laugh on stage, it's not going to help.
Exactly, it's about
Got it. Noted for the future, not going to even try. Thomas, so what is your final advice for using AI?
Well, it brings me back to the beginning. It's the excitement. And if you find people that actually have their doubts, try to light a spark of excitement and curiosity with them, show them what actually can be done, and there's lots of potential. And for me, it's the excitement.
And you said at the beginning that you're one of the 3 co-CTOs. So my question to you, with AI, can you have 2 co-CTOs, or you cannot?
Well, you said that, not I. But maybe yes, maybe no, but it will help us focus more on the more important things and relieve us of the chores that we have to do. So no, even the human interaction, probably the pandemic showed that to us all, that human interaction still is a vital part of our day-to-day business. So.
OK, so the human interaction, as what we're hearing, is still going to stay, even then we are at the rise of AI. And the question for you, Florian, the last one I promised before we end. So you said that you have a passion for the 90s music. But obviously, all the music for 90s has been already written because 90s has passed. Can we get more 90s music with the help of AI?
For sure. I mean, because, machine learning, recognizing patterns, and then rearranging stuff, I think that's a pretty straightforward yes.
Okay, so we should be expecting the new albums coming up for the 90s music. Well, thank you all so much for being a part of the panel, for sharing your insights, for most importantly being our extremely valuable partners and doing all the amazing things together with us on Spryker. And thank you all so much for coming and listening to us.
Thank you, Elena.
Thank you.